The long-awaited Captain Rework has finally arrived on the update 35 beta. And in this video, I'm going to go through all the changes that are listed for the new Captain. First spec we're going to take a look at is Blue Captain, Hands of Healing. The goal with this rework is to give Captain the ability to actually be a main healer and actually healing a tank instead of just slow group healing. The first thing to mention is that Blue Captain used to have a 10% proc chance to get a heal. This proc chance has simply been removed. Now we can start by going through the blue trait tree. The reversal is still the same. Critical events increases your melee damage. This skilled hands, I believe, merged two traits that basically did the same thing. So at rank 6 you get 10% outgoing healing and 5% tactical and melee damage. Fostered Resolve used to be 20% but got tuned down a bit. Lifting Words, Words of Courage healing is still the same. Revealing Mark in blue line, it says 2%. Take a note of the first set bonus. Healing from Revealing Mark in blue line is doubled. So Revealing Mark in red or yellow is going to be 2%, but in blue line it's 4% with some extra healing potential there. Rousing Cry still gives the Rallying Cry damage buff. The Captain Res is now a single target res in the trait, but if you specialize in blue line, you do get the Blood of Numenor, the double res. Astute Hands is still the same, tactical crit chance and multiplier. You have Relentless Optimism with the Captain AoE healing. Honorable Blow will trigger if you use Inspire on a target with Revealing Mark. The Standard of Honor Blue Cappy banner has been buffed. It now heals every 2 seconds for 15 seconds. The Rallying Roar increases the morale heal by Rallying Cry, and it will also restore power when used with a defeat event. This is really useful for power restore. Fellowship of the Shield will buff your 2 arms and also buff your allies. 2 arms overall kind of got a little bit of a rework, so we'll look into that later. Courageous Convocation, still a thing. Muster Courage heals the Captain on use. And one of the new things, Shield of the Dunedain, is a new capstone in blue line. Yellow line loses Shield of the Dunedain and it's now a blue line skill. Your other capstone is Valor. Many of your melee skills will heal your shield brother, and the strength of your Valor heals will scale with your skill damage rather than stuff like outgoing healing. If we look at the set bonuses, we have Reddit Strike, doubling the strength of Revealing Mark. Blood of Numenor makes your res into the double res, and critting with your heals can give you more critical hit chance. Elendil's Favor, your Blade of Elendil makes your next Valiant Strike heal for more, for 20% more. So using Blade of Elendil and then Valiant Strike, it'll heal for a bit more. Tactician's Prowess, you get some more healing critical magnitude, and the defensive strike cooldown has been reduced. Defensive Strike is your new skill in every line that will open a battle ready stance. Reformed Lines has been moved from the capstone and just put into the set bonuses of the traits, and it will still act as a good cooldown for Blue Captain. Blessing of the Shield, you will gain personal benefits from your Songbrother's skills. So Inspire and 2 arms will give you personal benefits. Gift of the Spirit is a new skill that will unlock when you hit targets with critical melee hits. When you get enough stacks, you then get Gift of the Spirit available. And when it comes to trading in the other lines, you can go down into red to get the other buff and some more damage and Telling Mark, or you can go into yellow and get 2 arms and possibly yellow banner if you prefer. Now let's take a look at how Blue Captain plays. First, you always have your motivating speech, you have your selectable banner. Note that the banners have a 2-minute cooldown now. A lot of people like the Herald of Victory because it reduces power cost by 7.5%, but I do still think the Herald of Hope with the mitigation will still be the best herald for you. I'm just going to go ahead and put Shield Brother on my pet. Alright, let's look at some of these skills that we have. We have Revealing Mark, heals for 4%, I'll just put it on. let's check out the blue Cappy banner. Heals 63. I do have good stats right now. My crit is almost capped. And my outgoing healing is pretty much capped as well. So this is kind of the max potential of blue Cappy at the moment. This banner feels pretty nice now. Every 2 seconds heals for about 70k right now. I would say the blue capper is no longer totally useless. Mr. Courage has the self-heal, and you'll notice that the fear resistance has been nerfed quite a bit. It's only 32% right now. 2 arms has changed. When you pop 2 arms in blue line, your shield brother takes 15% less damage for 20 seconds, and you heal for 25% more for 20 seconds. So a pretty nice cooldown now for the healing captain, with a 20-second duration and a 1-minute cooldown. Fighting withdrawal has changed. It's now just withdraw. It's your shake free, shake out of stuns, break out of stuns skill now. It no longer has the parry buff attached to it. You have your double res as usual. The cleanse corruption icon changed slightly. Rallying cry is still a really good reliable heal. 15-second cooldown. And this is the gift of spirit. I'm gonna try to unlock it by keep hitting this dummy with my melee skills. Eventually you're gonna get enough critical hits with your skills. As you can see, it just unlocked. Gift of the spirit. It'll stay active as long as you're in combat until you need it. It only has a 3-second cooldown, so you can, if you want, you can spam this this healing skill in your rotation and just keep whacking the targets with your skills to unlock it again. But as you can see, it's a pretty nice heal. 300k heal, and probably even higher with buffs and if it crits. Inspire pretty much works as before. If you use Inspire on the target that has a revealing mark, you get this buff. Incoming healing for 7 seconds. Valiant Strike is no longer part of your battle-readied, battle-hardened stances. It's now just a healing skill, which will heal your shield brother. And I do believe it's supposed to be an AoE heal as well, but it's currently not an AoE heal on beta. I think that's a known issue. But anyhow, Valiant Strike, pretty good heal. Gallant Display is now AoE frontal. You can use it anywhere. As you can see, it requires you to hit something to heal. So let's try that out. Hit a target, it will heal. But it has a short cooldown, so it's going to be expensive to use a Gallant Display. Words of Courage is still the same. You can apply this dot to allies. You'll also notice that if you're in battle readied, Purge Corruption cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds. Right now I got into battle readied, and Cleanse Corruption is only 5-second cooldown. So a good way to remove corruptions is to be in battle readied. The Sure Strike buff in blue line, just applied it. Focus gives 2% attack mit, 5% incoming healing, and 3% tactical resistance. You can also see that every melee skill has a heal applied to it. That's the Valor effect that'll heal your shield brother. When I hit my melee attacks, I also passively heal my marked target. So typically you would put that on a tank then. Shield of the Dunedain is now blue lane skill. That's makes sense that a healer has this cooldown to put on a tank or someone taking a lot of damage. And of course we also have Reform the Lines, pretty strong AoE heal and cooldown. You can also take a look at 2 arms again. The Fellowship of the Shield, when you use 2 arms, your whole fellowship will take minus 5% damage and deal 2% more damage. So you yourself heal for 25% more, your shield brother takes 15% less damage, but your entire fellowship will take 5% less damage and deal 2% more damage. So pretty nice cooldown for your fellowship. I think that pretty much covers the new blue Cappy. I tried healing a 3-man, it feels pretty nice and pretty smooth to play blue Cappy. I'm still hoping to get into some higher tier content on beta. Maybe not with this first beta test, but maybe the next one I can do like an SV tier 5 or Hidden Horde raids or something if people are willing to go. but my first impressions of Blue Cappy is pretty nice. And for us to take a look at the Red Captain, the goal for the Red Captain rework is to make Captain viable as a damage dealer, but also still keeping the ability to buff the group. You can already see a bug here. Valiant Strike should not be in Redline, it should be Shadow's Lament, but that's currently a bug in the first beta. Let's dive into Redline. We'll just go through the traits real quick. React to battle stays the same, more crit chance for your devastating blow, light of Elendil, more crit chance to your skills. Deafening shouts, light type damage is the same, attack duration and melee damage is the same. You have telling mark as always. Hardened Heart potency has been taken down a bit because they don't want the multipliers to be that high. Make them bleed is still 20%, and it seems like the pet trait has been moved to tier 2. Giving your pets more mitigations and damage if you put points into this. You have your Routing Cry attack speed buff. Time of Need is still a cooldown in red, and you can increase the telling mark damage to 5%. Grievous Wound is still 10%, and you have the incoming healing debuff at max rank. Arterial Strikes gains a rank and now gives 5% crit chance and 10% critical damage. Impactful Blows is increased to 10% damage. Standard of War has seen a little bit of a change. The duration is now 15 seconds. You can reduce some of your skill power cost if you want. Fellowship of the Blade gives your fellowship some of your 2 arms buff. Vital Stroke magnitude has been reduced somewhat. And of course at the bottom we have Oathbreaker's Shame. And I've seen some talk about the icon changing here. Oathbreaker's Shame now has a base duration of 15 seconds, down from 20 seconds. And Elite Companions has a chance for your pet to reduce the enemy's armor. So I would say Redline seems pretty unchanged in the traits. Look at the set bonuses. Readied Blade now gives 10% melee damage. Cutting Attack gives you extra crit damage after you use the Cutting Attack. Elendil's Fortune, still the same. Blade of Elendil causes your next Shadow's Lament to deal more damage. Lacerate has seen a small change. Grave Wound will spread the Cutting Attack bleed to targets around the captain. And Shadow's Lament will spread the Grave Wound bleed. So you have 2 ways to spread bleeds now as a captain. Standalone is your new toggle skill, gives you more mastery and it'll change a lot of skills. We'll take a look at that later. Blessing of the Blade gives yourself personal benefits from your Blade Brothers skills, which is Inspire and 2 arms. And Master of War, when you land critical hits with Inspire, you and your Blade Brother gains 50% crit chance for 5 seconds. So the effect from this has changed. Alright, let's look at the captain, how it plays. Getting on my ally, putting Blade Brother on him. First, we can just look at the red banner, 20% on each damage type, 15-second duration. The duration of this banner is a bit shorter. Oathbreaker's Shame is now 15-second duration. We do have the new Stand Alone skill. I'm gonna leave this untouched. I want to look at the... So this is the captain in its buff state. Let's look at 2 arms. You deal 15% damage, your Blade Brother deals 15% more damage. So basically in your buff stance, you and your Blade Brother will deal more damage with 2 arms. And your Fellowship will get 5% more damage and 2% outgoing healing from 2 arms. You might also notice that the skill Blade Brothers Call has been removed. It's simply gone from Red Cappy. Looking at Gallant Display for Red Cappy is a frontal 2 attack skill, deals damage. That's an AoE attack on a pretty short cooldown. Using Inspire now as a Red Captain will now give yourself, and I believe it says your Fellowship, I believe it's to your Blade Brother, will give you 7.5% more damage, minus 3% all skill inductions, 10%, minus 10% attack duration, and minus 5% power cost. And it'll also restore power when you use Inspire. So a pretty good skill for your Blade Brother. Same thing in Redline. When you're in battle ready, the cooldown of Cleanse Corruption is reduced by 10 seconds. We take a look at the 2 arms buff in Redline. This is no longer stats like physical mastery and critical rating. It's 5% damage, 2% crit chance, and minus 5% attack duration. You also have defensive strike in Redline, another way to open battle readied. Shadow's Lament will no longer open battle readied, but instead just be a damaging attack. And like I said before, Shadow's Lament is not active in Redline. The bug Valiant Strike is currently in Redline, so we can't really test the spreading the bleeds yet because we don't have Shadow's Lament. And now for the interesting part. Stand Alone, which is your toggle skill. You can see that this skill is being barred from use. That is because I have a Blade Brother. Remove Blade Brother. You're a Cappy that wants to stand alone. A lot of skills will change if you stand alone. You can see from the toggle alone, you get more mastery. But if we look at the skills that change, Inspire changes to Inspire Self-Determination. And if we use the Self-Determination Inspire, it's supposed to give you a damage buff of 20% and minus 5% incoming damage. But it doesn't seem to work properly currently. This should be giving you a damage buff of 20%. And if you use Inspire off cooldown in standalone, you will keep this buff up 100% of the time. Your 2 arms changes to a DPS cooldown, 30% more damage for 25 seconds with a 1 minute cooldown. So basically your Inspire and your 2 arms becomes kind of like self buffs. See the Masterful Strikes, nice little damage buff. Words of Courage changes to Courageous Heart, 20% mitigations for 10 seconds with a 1 minute cooldown. That's a nice little mitigation buff if you're gonna take a hit. And the final skill that changes is your Res. Escape from Darkness changes into Cry of Fury. As you can see, this skill is AoE, max 4 target, 7 meter radius. It is a 5 minute cooldown though, but it's a strong AoE attack. Also puts a nice self heal on yourself, as well as an outgoing damage debuff. So 5% less outgoing damage on your target, and you heal yourself for 10 seconds. It's quite a long cooldown actually for a skill like this. I'm not sure about this one, but those are the 4 skills that change when you change into Stand Alone. 2 arms into Masterful Strikes, Inspire into Inspire Self-Determination. Doesn't seem like the buff is working properly. It should be 20% damage buff and minus 5% incoming damage. Words of Courage gives Courageous Heart. And of course, your Escape from Darkness gives you Cry of Fury. So it's going to be interesting to see how Red Cappy plays going forward. I know the damage overall on this beta test has some bugs in it, so we'll see some more numbers with the upcoming beta builds. And finally, we can look into the Captain Yellow line. You'll notice right away, Hammer Stroke, new skill, 30% parry chance. This is basically the new parry buff. Let's spec into yellow and look at the traits. This trait has not changed. The morale is still the same. Noble Mark should have a damage increase, but they said it's still not where they want it to be. Taunt is the same. This is the same. I don't think there's too many changes in the traits for Yellow Cappy. Seems pretty much the same. The Yellow Banner, of course, also has the 15-second nerf in the duration on it, which I think I like that change. Strength in numbers actually now is worth it from what I hear. Fellowship of the Song gives your fellowship parts of your 2 arms buffs. Unwavering, still the same, reducing the last stand cooldown. Brother's Keeper is a new skill. This skill replaces the Shield Brothers Call, and we'll take a look at that in a second. At the 4 is the new cooldown. We're going to look at that as well. And Elendil's Fury, of course, for your AoE taunt. Alright, let me summon my Herald. I'm going to take a look at the Yellow Line skills. We do have some new skills, but let's just go through it. have our taunts, Mr. Courage, resist nerfed in every line. Alright, we can just look at the 4 right away. That's a 4-minute cooldown, and as you can see, on any hit received, you negate 50% damage. So basically, any hits you take, you reduce the damage by 50%. For 10 seconds, you take half damage, and when this expires, you get 100% melee damage. And those damage skills will also consume stacks of at the 4 to restore your morale. So this effect lasts for 25 seconds or until you consume all these stacks. And each stack will restore 5% of max morale. We're gonna go ahead and get into combat. I'm gonna pop at the 4. Every time we get hit, it should stack an effect. This was not a good example. It's kind of hard because the dummy does not hit me as much. But as you can see, I got 1 stack, and that gave me 2% incoming healing, which is 1 stack. I believe 10 stacks will give you 20% incoming healing, and when the 10 seconds is over, you then use those stacks. Every time you hit your target, you heal for 5%. So the cooldown is pretty strong. And it will also reset by Call to Greatness from the Minstrel. I also realized I forgot to look at the set bonuses. I don't know how much they changed. You may block with 2-hander, Last Stand, Elendil's Boon, still the same. You have your Defensive Strike buff, Shield Brothers Call. It's a new skill we're going to take a look at in a sec. You gain personal benefits from Inspire and 2 arms, normal stuff. Exemplar used to reduce the cooldown of Shield of the Dunedain and Strength in Numbers if you and your Shield Brother takes critical hits. This effect will now work on Strength in Numbers and also on at the 4. Looking at the Yellow Captain skills, let's look at the Sure Strike buff in Yellow Line. 2% Fismit, 3% parry chance, and 5% critical defense. Defensive Strike should give you a defensive buff for 18 seconds. See if this is working. I don't see any buff. This trait is supposed to give you a incoming damage reduction buff for 18 seconds. Does not appear to be working currently. Alright, moving on. Hammer Stroke is your new parry buff. Withdraw is just now your breakout skill. And Hammer Stroke, hit a target with Hammer Stroke, you activate your parry buff for 15 seconds. Strength in Numbers has been buffed, should be stronger now. So standing next to 1 target, I heal a decent amount. It should be even stronger next to all your fellowship friends. Noble Mark is not at the place they want it, so it's probably going to be buffed even more. Yellow Banner duration is 15 seconds now. Gallant Display in yellow deals moderate damage and also heals. And in Yellow Line, you now have a single target rest, no more double rest for Yellow Captain. We have the new skill Song Brothers Call, which replaces the Shield Brothers Call. And if I apply it to my ally, you can see that it's kind of like a mini SOD. 30% incoming damage reduction for 7 seconds. And it also looks like the Shield of the Dunedain. So basically, it's a half strength Shield of the Dunedain kind of thing. And finally, we can take a look at Inspire in yellow. It will heal and restore power to your Song Brother. Here's to do it to yourself as well. I believe it should. 2 arms, you take 15% less damage and you heal for 25% more. I think this skill is bugged currently. This is supposed to be you to take 15% less damage while your Song Brother heals for 15% more. So ideally you would put this on a healer as a Yellow Captain. The 2 arms fellowship buff is minus 2% incoming damage, plus 2% outgoing damage, and plus 3% outgoing healing. I do believe that pretty much covers the Yellow Captain. They're losing the double res. I think some of the healing potential goes down, but it seems like Yellow Captain will still be fine in my opinion. And finally, we have some general captain skill changes. As we've seen before in the video, if you get into battle readied, the Cleanse Corruption cooldown will be reduced by 10 seconds. So while in battle ready, you can remove a corruption every 5 seconds. Blade of Elendil will no longer remove corruptions and no longer be a force taunt in yellow line. Time of Need will cost morale to use and will also restore power for you. Muster Courage Fear Resistance has been nerfed. It was way too strong and it is now sitting at 32% fear resistance. The Escape from Darkness Resurrection Induction is 0.8 seconds. The Grave Wound Taunt can no longer be BPE'd. Fighting Withdrawal has been split into Hammer Stroke in yellow line, which is now your new parry buff. And Withdraw in every line is now simply your breakout skill. Defensive Strike is your new secondary skill to get into battle ready. You get this in every trait line. And Valiant Strike in blue and Shadow's Lament in red no longer put you in battle ready. And another quality of life change to Captain. Motivating Speech is now a 20-minute duration, up from 5 minutes. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to help out the channel. Leave a like, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're playing or looking to play Lord of the Rings online, there is one place you need to be. The Ghyniverse! The Ghyniverse is a community Discord server for the game Lord of the Rings Online. In this server, you'll find anything from giveaways. There's also a frequently asked questions channel that I would recommend checking out first. You'll be able to see when I put out new YouTube videos, whenever I stream. You can also ask for the streamer role and you'll be able to post your own streams in this server for everyone to see. There's currently over 5,000 members in this Discord and it keeps growing. You will also find discussion channels about the game, LOTRO. You can ask any questions in the help channel. There's discussions for every single class in the game and PvP. But one of the best things about this server is the best in slot items section. In this section you can find trait lines for every single class. You will find screenshots of the current best gear being displayed. In this channel you'll find charts showing what stats you need for your characters, mitigations, mastery crit, finesse, but you'll also find useful information about drop rates in different instances. I hope you will consider joining my server and maybe one day I'll see you in Middle Earth.